We're going to have a look at finding the domain and range of a quadratic function. Now, just before we start, it helps to have a brief idea of what quadratic looks like, so we know that it's a U shape. The domain is all the x values that you can put into the quadratic, and the range is all the y values that can come out of a quadratic. So let's think about what x values you can put into this. Well, if you keep drawing this graph on more and more, what you'll see is that there's no limit to what x values you can put into it. Even if you put x equals minus 999, x equals positive 999, it will still give you values of y. So that means that the domain x is in the set of real numbers. Now this notation here just means that x can be any rational or irrational number. Irrational as in like root 2, pi, etc. Now range, I mentioned, is all the y values that come out of a function. If we think about the quadratic, I mentioned it goes infinitely larger. So in terms of positive y values, there's no limit. But if we find the minimum point of a quadratic, we know the y values, it can't be less than that minimum point. So let's focus on finding that minimum point. The easiest way is to complete the square. So just to remind you, we halve the coefficient of x, which is minus 2 in this case. You put that in a bracket, all squared. If we expand this out to the side, so squaring something just means you're multiplying by itself. I'm assuming you know how to do this, so I'm just going to quickly write that it's x squared minus 4x plus 4. This is what we're currently at when you expand this, but we want to get to x squared minus 4x plus 7. To go from 4 to 7, we add 3, so we input that as extra. From here, we get that the turning point, well, the x coordinate of it is 2, and the y coordinate of the turning point is just this number you have at the end here. So if you briefly draw a graph, that tells you that the minimum point is 2, 3, and it's a U shape. So it'll look something like that. It's a horrible drawing, but I hope you get the idea. And the main idea of this is that y values, it's always 3 or greater than 3. It'll never be less than 3. So we say that the range y is greater than or equal to 3. And that's everything for this question. If you have any questions with it, just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, like the video if it helped, and be sure to subscribe.